here.
Hello everybody, this is Thunderbolt Siren Studios. I am joined here with Sup Gun Studios.
Hola, ¿cómo está?
And today we are at the Ohio Railway Museum in Worthington, Ohio.
So
we're gonna check out some of the things here. I think we should start.
I've never been here. So.
Start from this side and make our way down. So
like a plan. You've been here before, so I'm gonna trust you.
Many times I've taken pictures. They're up on my community page, but. So with this baggage trolley, not sure what year this is from, but it's probably built before or around the same time as this locomotive there that we'll go look at. Tons of old baggage here that was probably used by real people. Water trough. Water looks about as clean as it does at your house.
Oh, screw you.
A big spring down here. This spring
right now.
Don't do that. Spring right here, probably used on one of the one of the trucks on the locomotives. Let's see.
I believe
things here. Yeah, probably. Yeah. The tracks.
They seem rock hard.
Looks like standard gauge to me. Looks about the same as standard gauge. Maybe slightly smaller, probably narrow gauge, looks like. Maybe 3 feet.
It's toasty out here.
Yeah, there's plenty of stuff here, so.
Toasty.
Just walking across the ties.
Wheels.
Yep. Here, let me see if I can, how much these weigh. Ugh, pretty heavy. All the rust on
You're gonna get tetanus.
Yep, gonna get tetanus.
You're gonna.
Not sure what this is, but.
That looks like a cannon. Tell me that does not look like
a cannon. It's not a cannon.
Shut up, it's a cannon.
It's not a cannon.
Shut up, it's a cannon.
It's not a cannon.
It's a cannon.
I'm telling you right now.
It's a cannon.
It's not a cannon.
It's a cannon.
It's not a cannon.
That's a cannon.
It's not a cannon.
That's a
canyon?
A
cannon. Yes, it's not a cannon either.
It's not a canyon, guys.
Let's see.
We can't go in this one, but.
No, I can't go in. Or maybe we can.
No, it says exhibit closed right here.
Oh well.
Although we could get a peek inside because of the broken glass.
Well, the cracked glass.
Slightly broken glass.
Can't see much in there, but looks like this. It says airport, so it's probably used on as like a commuter train to an airport. Not sure where though. Subway car. This is one of the CSX's Caboose from the 70s. It looks like 70s or 80s around that time. I'm coming. All right. Hey, get back here. Right here. Handbrake, it's frozen, but handbrake, you turn this to not tie it down, but make sure that it won't. Yeah. Ah, there we go. It does move, slowly though. Use this to lock the brakes. Here, I'm gonna go back down. I just stepped off this the wrong way. You're supposed to step down backwards, but. Okay, so some grab irons, air brake hoses, more air brake hoses.
Down there?
Rusty. Knuckle coupler, or in Ohio known as Buckeye coupler. But traditionally we just call it knuckle coupler right here. Looks like coupler cut bar or something similar.
Something like that.
Come on, let's see. Hold this.
Nature has taken this one.
Here, can you help me out here?
Hey, come down there.
Come down here and pull this coupler open.
What?
I'm holding this open. Pull the coupler open.
This?
Oh, it must be frozen. Oh well. Well, yeah, usually this would just release it and would go open, but it looks like
it opened then.
Broken spring down there.
That's a rusty meat bone.
What the heck? Signal right there. Huh? Signal right here. Simple signal.
You typically find those around yards back in the day, and many of them are still used up to this time period now.
Wow.
In these now times.
This is a 80s or 70s Caboose.
This Caboose was built in 1981 by Fruit Growers Express, originally for the Louisville National Railroad as number 6607. In 1983, the Clinchfield Railroad and the L&N merged as part of the new Family Line System ownership, and then this Caboose was renumbered to 16607 in 1983. In 1986, the CSX Transportation took over the Family Line System, and this Caboose became CSX 16607. This Caboose is painted in a YN2 paint scheme. YN1 refers to gray and blue lettering. YN2 is referred to yellow, blue, and gray lettering and paint as well. And the underpaint scheme that you typically see on CSX today is Lion 3 with a turquoise blue and gold trim.
Wow.
This is an example of a transfer caboose, as many of you probably know. The cupola cabooses that you typically see were used for like sitting on the tops of trains. You also had bay windows cabooses. And then you would have cabooses that were used in railroad yards back in the day or on shuttle trains, or even for maintenance of way runs.
This particular one is bay window, right?
Yes, it is.
Chesapeake, Ohio 484.
Yeah, Greenbrier.
An early, late 30s 284.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like one of Boston and Albany's.
Yep.
Another
Now, the
Berkshire.
Berkshires on the Chesapeake and Ohio Railroad were known as canalas.
What happens if I pull this?
Then you throw the train in emergency. So your air right here, the air brake system, your release has to be at least 90 pounds. For a full application of the train on the brake pads, on the brake wheels, you want to read about 70 pounds. So that's like a 20-pound reduction. We do what's called a continuity test in our yard. Besides using radio signals, we use hand signals. This means set up the brakes, you walk the train, inspect for anything. This is a release signal, so the engineer has to be able to see your hand signals and see where you are. And then if you're going in between cars, you do what's called a three-step. Three-step applied, you go in between. Once you're done doing it, you say three-step off. Yep, and that's pretty much how it rolls here.
So if I pull this, will anything happen?
Not at this point because there's no air. It's right now this is applied. See, this one actually pushes it back. See, that's where you kind of pull it in the event of an emergency.
Oh, okay.
You also have what are called handbrakes on the car. So when you walk your train, inspecting it, do your continuity test, you always check to see if you have any handbrakes applied because they have to be released. Otherwise, you get flat spots on the rail. You hear that boom, 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 boom. Because sometimes
yeah, I've heard that.
Some crew members have been notorious for not resetting their handbrakes and putting it back the way it was. A sufficient amount of handbrakes has to be set to keep the train held because if you're like on a downhill grade and you got a really high percentage of a gradient going downhill, you better make sure you have enough so your train doesn't slide down the hill or become a runaway. The best way to stand on a shove with your radio, you can actually, if the engineer's on this side, you can use hand signals to have him either he's going backward. Well, backwards you'd be on that side because the engineer locomotives do right-hand running. So the best way to stand in this car on a shove is keep your feet spread apart, almost aligned with the rail, so you actually have a little bit more balance. Now, underneath here where the coupler is located, you actually have what's called a spring coupler. So there's actually less resistance once you tie onto a train. If I am guiding a train down, and let's say I'm the conductor of this train, and the engineer's there, he's got to be able to see me. So we use what are called radio and hand signals. We try to use those less as possible to avoid any radio traffic. This means reverse is a backup. This is a horizontal movement of the hand. So when I get ready to tie onto a train, I do what's called a reduced speed. And let's say these two couplers are getting close together. I want to make sure my couplers are aligned. If for some reason I feel like they're not aligned, I will have them stop. I'll say requesting a three-step. Yep, three-step in between. Get your couplers aligned. You say three-step off. Get them back up. You're good for about 5 feet. Once we tie on, you got to be very vigilant. Watch your couplers once they tie on. This means stop. And then we stretch the couplers to make sure that the pin was in and nothing falls out. So once we do that, we get our stretch done. We ask for a three-step in between. And once the three-step is applied, we take the air hose, and then what this will do is that will bend one way. The other air hose will come in between and hook on, and somewhat of a clamp pattern. Not like that, but more of a slide in. So what we can do is take the air hose, bend it on our knee so it can connect on properly. Whenever you store cars or drop off cars, you never ever bottle the air. That is like closing the angle cocks, just letting the air sit there. So the air, let's say it's already bled out. We cut the air. When we cut our air in, remember, we want to do it nice, gradually, and slow. If we do it too fast, you know what happens?
The hose flops around?
Well, you actually dump the air on the train. You have to reset. Now, some brake stands, like the early number 6 and number 12 brake stands, they're basically the same. They just have a more of a different manufacturer design. They can charge up pretty quickly. The main train reservoir, the main train brake pipe has to be between 130 and 140. So when we're doing what's called a power braking on locomotives, you notice there's like a train brake and an engine brake. He'll draw about like 5 or 6 pounds for it's like initial reduction. the equalizing reservoir will drop, and then the main train bike will at the same pressure position that it's at. They'll do what's called bail off. That way he can do his train stretch. He has to judge his car length speed. Car length is about 100 feet in length. So he wants to judge it properly to have a good stopping position. So, as I mentioned, this is reverse. This means go forward. If you see a violent waving of the hand,
Stop.
it means stop immediately.
Like emergency,
there's
suppression or
let's
emergency.
say there's someone trying to take a perfect shot on the track, or we got a car on the track. They just pull out for, or someone's trying to beat the train. You know, people make stupid decisions like that. Because the number one rule to railroading at any time is safety first.
That's right.
All right.
Something that has not been happening recently on some of the Class 1s.
Yeah. Well, going back to the history of the Caboose, this Caboose was retired in April of 2019. It sat up at the Clark Avenue Roundhouse in Cleveland. It was once part of the Baltimore and Ohio. It is now today the Midwest Railway Preservation Society. The Caboose came to our museum on October 24th, 2019. And the last time it was used on rides was around September 2020.
Wow. You got some other parts here. It looks like it's part of a knuckle down there.
Yeah, that is a coupler knuckle. Those things can weigh 90 pounds. You ever been to the East Broad Top Railroad?
No, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, they have what's called dual gauge tracks. So you can actually, on smaller narrow gauge couplers, which are about 50 pounds, you can attach an adapter coupler. Kind of like on your model trains where you have adapter couplers.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
So you can actually lift the car off the wheel set of standard gauge. They particularly take about 2 standard gauge cars at a time, because they would interchange the Pennsylvania Railroad. They would never let their what could I say? They would never let their narrow gauge cars go out on the standard gauge. You know, the bodies of the narrow gauge cars go out on the standard gauge line.
Yeah. Wow. The windows are open and everything. Windows can shut and open, so you need some air. For some reason, the seat would be facing the wrong way for signals. But there you go. There's that. If you want to sit down in that, give that a try. I'm good.
By the way, you guys do YouTube or anything?
Yep.
Yeah. My YouTube channel is NS Steampunk. NS, 2 letters, Steampunk,
Norfolk
77
yeah.
space Steampunk.
I think I might have heard of that.
Yep, that's my channel. That's me.
Nice.
Yep.
Check that out later. So one more question.
Yes, sir.
This long pipe running through the roof, what does that do?
That I think was just basically something to hang on to. So
Oh, yeah,
the
'cause
train
this-
was going, let's say, 50, 60 miles an hour. 60 miles, 65 is like pretty much high speed, for
Yeah.
freight trains.
Yeah.
And then Amtrak speed's about 79 miles an hour. Some of the trains, like the Wolverines, can go about 110 miles an hour. I mean, you see a train, it gives an optical illusion. You have no idea how fast it's going.
Yeah.
And it goes right by. It really makes a difference.
Yeah, it does. It does. And
Yeah.
standing in like the cab of 587, which I've done before, and then
You mean
looking down.
578?
Yeah,
578.
or 578. Sorry about that. Standing in the cab of that and then looking down, you realize how high you are and
on the
how.
track.
Yeah, and how
Every.
there's just that little bit of movement. You look like you're going a million miles per hour. It's
I know,
insane.
Trains get optical illusion. Every engine size is different here. You have any other questions whatsoever?
Nope.
No.
Nope. Thank you so much,
Well, I'll
though.
tell you one thing. This is the last surviving Norfolk and Western combination baggage coach. Combine car refers to half the car housing passengers, the other half of the car holding luggage. You would typically see that on the front of a passenger train on main line, or see it solo or with one car on a branch line.
Pullman coach, right?
I think it's Pullman. I have to look at it again. It's built November 1918.
Oh wow. It's an old Pullman coach. So something 578 or is it 87?
Yes, that steam engine actually, when we operated on our museum track, that engine actually pulled that
578.
car on our train rides back in the day.
Oh wow. In the 70s, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think.
578 operates till about 1978.
And then the museum couldn't afford to operate it. It was
No,
the
you're talking
flute.
about $1 million to restore that thing from the ground up. The 1,472 rebuild.
Yeah, the flue time expired, right?
Oh yeah. And number one, as you can see on the side there, that engine was the first modern steam locomotive preserved in the United States.
Oh wow.
Now, 578 has superheated tubes, which means you get a lot more output and power.
Yeah, it runs the steam by the boiler heat again to heat it up even more, so it's just pure steam and no
Exactly.
condensation.
And number one's is more of a saturated boiler because you don't really need as that much power, but at least enough to move the cars back and forth to the rock quarry.
Yeah, you know, five cars for that little 040 was quite a bit.
Yeah, and that thing never had a coal bucket. You just used basically a bucket of coal.
So it wasn't moving very far.
Yeah, but with that little saddle tank, you at least saddle up the iron horse. Giddy up.
Yep, there you go. Thank you so much,
You're
Steampunk.
welcome. What's your channel?
Thunderbolt Siren Studios and Subgun
Siren
Studios.
Studios?
Yep.
Thunderbolt Siren Studios and Stepgun Studios.
Okay, great. I'll write that down so I can remember.
Thank you so
thank you.
much.
Okay. Let me write this down. Thunderbolt Siren Studios. Let me find you here. You know what this is right here? And I'll show you. You lift your hand. This, and if I can get to lift up, this is an example of a marker flag. I can't really get to move, but this would show you the back end of the train.
Oh yeah, see if it would be.
Not
red.
every Class 3 railroad you need to have marker signals at the back end. The reason we like to sometimes do that is because that way it kind of shows what it was like back in the days before you had end-of-street devices, FRED.
Oh yeah. Oh, see why you can't lift this up is because
It's middle
it's welded on right here, and then this is broken.
Yeah.
So it must have broken off because of the rust, and they just said, "Oh, keep it cosmetic and just glue it back on or
Now,
solder it."
don't duct tape it back on.
No, don't duct tape it.
Alright, we want to show you the power braking system and the engine.
Uh,
The modern diesel locomotives, so the steam engines use the new 26L brake stand, which has pressure maintaining. So you do an initial reduction is about 5 to 6 pounds. A full application is about 20 pounds or 26 pounds, you know, because each brake stands a little bit differently.
In a bit, we're gonna make our way down.
Okay.
We'll meet you down there. Okay, coupler cut bar on this side. I'm guessing
Cool.
they don't. Yeah, it was. He's really good at what he does. He's probably been volunteering for a while. I think you have to be 16 or something to volunteer here. It's nice.
Yeah.
So you can see it's all coupled together, and I would assume these cars have flat spots. Or this
I
engine.
couldn't even tell you. Let's see, this is where the air hoses would hook up.
Yeah. And this is where the coupler cut bar is. Pulls up on this pin,
Yeah,
releases
that
the coupler.
raises the pin. So you want to go to the front, I can show you how we tie on a train. So you keep your couplers lined up here. This pin releases, and then when it comes out, car couples into it, this couples right back on. I can actually open it for you if you like.
All right.
See that? That opens your cup. You know, when we used to have pin couplers, you could easily lose your hand or your arm or limb.
Yeah, and they
These
said
are much better. So when it comes in like this, the coupling speed, you want to go about 5 miles, no more than 5
no more than
miles
5
per hour,
because it
that's
could break it.
damaging.
Yep.
And then you do that, and you do what's called a stretch. You tie it on. This means stretch, reverse,
Yep. And
go in
then
between.
go forward a little bit. Make sure that the pin is closed.
Pins in, keep it all stretched. Then you do 3-step apply, 3-step is on.
Looks like she went under a slight cosmetic
Yeah, we
restoration.
recently did a nice paint job on her. She's
Yeah.
actually my favorite. I love this old girl.
Last E2A Pacific, right?
Yeah, she's the last one. She was built March 1910.
1910. So
March 2nd.
It's like the K4 of this railroad. 2 world wars.
Oh yeah, I mean, she actually ran on the Saturday division between Portsmouth and Columbus from 1917, World War I, near the end of World War II in 1944.
You know, there's videos on the internet of
Oh yeah.
steam locomotives in and around Columbus.
If you look on my YouTube channel, NS Steampunk, I've got lots of playlists on several locomotives that I've looked at. I've traveled everywhere all over the place.
You know, I've looked into this old girl to see the history and hear the whistle and try and see it in action. And I heard they recently coupled it up and then, ran it up and down a few times up this line, and it creaked and, grumbled and groaned. Well, let's take a look at this. Is this, what is it, the 30-tonner?
This engine is actually a 25-ton electric steeple cab locomotive. It was built in 1926 for the Columbus Railway Power and Light Company. There was a powerhouse located north of Circleville, Pickaway County. And
See, there's
this
a
engine actually has two
wire.
options. You could use a trolley pull right here, located on this road, or you could also use a third rail option, kind of like what they use on Chicago's elevated trains.
Yep.
Or even the New York City's underground trains. This slanted design, that's actually a journal box.
Yep. There's oil would go in there, and then there's
That's
the
for
sponge to soak it up. This is before they had the
Yeah.
roller bearings, Timken's roller bearings.
Because you have the spring, you also have what's called a insulator, because you know it's not grounded when you're touching that electric wire. You want to pull the wire down quickly so it doesn't arc. The third rail option that allows you to enter the powerhouse, because there are many tunnels along many interurban railway right-of-way, sometimes streetcar lines, and you could actually use that pole to hover without touching the ceiling. It's kind of designed because you would enter the powerhouse. It'd be sometimes hard to see around the car, so you actually have better visibility, and then also the fact that the curves were really tight back in the day.
Yeah, so I'm guessing one of the last steeple cabs left, right?
Yeah, she actually had a sister number 1. Her headlights actually located on the back end. That engine was scrapped, and this engine came. She actually has a stablemate, which is actually a fireless cooker. It's like a thermos bottle, and that's up at Denison Depot Railway Museum.
Oh, it's also known as the fireless steam locomotive, right? It's just pressurized steam put into the boiler.
It's like charging a battery.
Yeah, it was great for industrial areas. She didn't have to worry about smoke. So I've heard that this is the original bell for the engine. And what is this?
That bell is off our Doodlebug number 5012. And 5012 was built in 1931, Bethlehem Steel Corporation, and that car was actually used as our powerhouse before we had the substation put in late 50s. So that's her bell right there.
Let's hear it.
And if you like, I can play a little bit of that.
I like that, shaving a haircut.
Yeah, I play some Super Mario for you guys. So when you access the locomotive cab, the most important thing in any railroad equipment is always put one hand on each railing, face the locomotive climbing up, and face the locomotive as you climb down.
I saw a the late 60s, early 70s Union Pacific safety video. It went out to it was just this guy who was probably around Union Pacific in the steam era and transferred over with the diesels, and he was just getting battered and beat around the whole time for these little stunts. It was crazy.
Now, up in this engine here, you have what's called a handbrake. You guys can come up in the cab if you want. Blended cars, dual control is kind of like similar to some of Norfolk Southern's locomotives. The N&W Railroad had a dual control stance. I wouldn't move that if I were you.
Oh, so
see, that's kind of locking in place. You got this. This was actually seen on the corners of locomotives and cars because if you had a car on an adjacent track, you had a pole. That's illegal these days. You cannot shove a car from an adjacent track.
Oh yeah, polling, I heard about that. So it's possible this could be old enough to have polling divots at the end, because polling divots, I'll show you, it's behind that flag. It's a little divot at the pilot, 578 right there.
And see, that's your power. You go up about 1 notch, and then as you start to go a little bit faster, I think I'm trying to get this to move. I don't know how this got messed around with, but so you pull a little ways, and then you close it, you push it all the way off. You hold it at the first set for about 1, 2, or 3 seconds, and then, before you actually notch up.
Hot, burnt me.
Oh, I know.
The sun's beating on the black painted locomotive. Here, do you mind if I ring this?
Yeah, go right ahead. By all means. That's how you say the bell. See, this is where your brake stand would be. So you'd have like a train brake.
Where'd the brake go?
Oh, the brake, you just pull the lever out, and then this would be for your reverser gear.
Oh, okay. So
the governor would actually be located in the back here. And then this right here, this was your air dump. That would help dump you would connect this up. There's another hose fitting located on the front of this engine. And you could actually use that to dump the ash wherever you need to go, because all that coal that was burned to make electricity, that's going to become ash eventually.
Do you want to give the bell a go?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, it's simple like that. You just kind of follow one simple motion.
Yep. You guys ride the train yet?
No, we're going to after we check.
I will be your conductor on the 2:30 run.
All right. So why isn't Roger, the 44-tonner down there, running?
That is actually a 65-tonner locomotive. We had a coach that we acquired from the St. Louis and Rio Grande Scenic Railroad. It was a Canadian Pacific passenger coach built in 1937 by Canadian Foundry Company for the Canadian Nationals Transcontinental. There was a big rail line that ran between British Columbia and Montreal, and that car, they were retiring those as part of Via Rail's formation in 1977. They're taking stainless steel cars, putting them in favor, taking the old cars out in favor for the new design. That car we got from St. Louis Rio Grande Scenic Railroad out in Alamosa, Colorado. They stopped doing passenger runs in 2019, but they are back to doing freight operations. That car came to our museum in 2012 because we had a Pullman car we were actually sending off, and when St. Louis Rio Grande Scenic Railroad stopped running, they sent some of those cars to the running Blue Mountain and Northern Railroad. The diesel engine came to us in March 2011. It was originally U.S. Army Transportation Corps number 7178. It then became Babcock's and Wilcox number 1, where it ran out of Barberton, Ohio. That engine came to us in March 2011. We call it Roger the Diesel engine. It's the only diesel locomotive we have ever owned before on the museum property.
Wow.
Stainless steel Volkswagen. This is our PCC streetcar number 450, PCC standing for Presidential Conference Committee. It was built by St. Louis Car Company in 1949 up and down the city streets back in its heyday. The car came to our museum in 1964, and for a while it ran with its sister 451 up at the Cleveland Rapid Transit Authority in Cleveland, Ohio, around Shaker Heights. By the late 70s, this car came out to our museum. Her sister still survives at the Connecticut Trolley Museum. The first of the designs came out in the early 1920s, and the first of these cars rolled off the assembly line in 1935. So you have some nice seats in here, some good windows. This car was not equipped with air brakes. She had disc brakes. It was kind of like dynamic braking back in the day.
Or similar to a car.
And then see, you have these seats back in the day. You can actually use these to fold backwards.
Oh, wow.
And
so go either way if you wanted to.
yeah,
It's multi-purpose.
this car is actually double-ended, so you can actually operate the streetcar from either end. What was also unique here is you would have a motorman up at the front and the conductor watching the back. You had a mirror up on top so you could see what was going on back there. So if let's say some college kid was partying too hard, he had too much to drink, the driver could see what was going on in the back, and if you need to, you could intervene. This is kind of like your dead man's switch. I'm sure many of you who've seen the movie Silver Streak before. It's a great film. Please check it out. If, for some reason, the motorman were to suddenly pass out or die, technically you'd have the foot come off the pedal, and this would bring the car to a complete stop. Some of the crew members get tired of doing that, and they put a brick on there.
That's dangerous.
Yeah.
But I can see why you'd get tired of that. So it's like a bus on rails.
Yep, so this is like your parking brake. You can also use this as your normal brake. This one is basically like your gas pedal for your car. If we're going south, we have our North Pole up at all times because back pulling actually, is not really good on the trolley wire as well as the roller.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, now if we're going south, our North Pole's up. If we're going north, our South Pole is up.
That makes sense. It looks like, what was this, reverse lever right here?
I think, no, I believe the reverse lever was located down underneath. You can actually find manuals of these cars back in the day.
Was this leather or something?
I couldn't even tell you.
It's become, like,
Not what it used to be.
heat stroke.
Heat stroke.
Oh, yeah. And
Expansion, contraction.
Forgot to look at the, emergency cable here if something happened or you wanted to stop.
You can actually operate the emergency lever from right here. Just turn the switch. Oh! Okay, who pulled it?
Oh.
This would bring your fare in, ding ding. You also had a gong bell and an air horn on board.
Oh, wow.
And we operated this car until about 2010. We had a trolley wire come down. We started rebuilding it, got it back up and running in, I believe, late 2011, early 2012. And this car was basically the mainstay. Just needs a lot of technical work before we can get it back on the road again.
Are you planning to get it back, or is this...
Eventually, we'd like to see it running.
Open the journal box. What is this, the 1800, or not 1800?
This, 26 tons of coal in the bunker, 18,000 gallons
18,000 gallons, okay.
578 actually had 4 different tenders during her times in revenue service.
Is
So
it-
around early 50s is when she got her last tender.
Wasn't this one used by an engine similar to that of like a Y6A or a Y6B?
That I couldn't even tell you, but she had Buckeye trucks. These are heavyweight trucks because lightweight trucks are about, like let's say for a box caboose or 4-wheel axles. 6-wheel axles are larger. These are heavyweight.
Yep. Hollow in there. Okay. Although I'm guessing where these rivets are, there's some like structural walls in there.
Yep. You guys see the locomotive cab yet?
I have before, but I wouldn't mind going back up there. Of course, we're gonna have to go around the other side. Take a look at the outside.
Firebox. These right here are washout plugs. You also have ones that are similar to that called feasible stable. It's located in the back of the boiler.
Heard, you know the YouTuber Heiss?
I think so.
He was working on, I think it was 491, the 280 narrow gauge engine.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I does like 282.
He was, I think he was heating this up so we could help get it off better.
Oh,
and
wow.
there was a little bit of steam still, or no, it wasn't here, but it was on the boiler somewhere. It was a little bit of steam from water left in there. And because of that, the pressure built and it blew this off, went right by his head. He's now like, one of his ears is permanently ringing and he almost died. In fact, the boss or the owner was in a building like maybe a couple hundred feet away. He heard that and he came in here. You're like, what happened?
Yeah. And this right here, that's your crosshead. You have the main rods located here.
This is
Is
this Baker valve gear?
Yes, Baker
Okay.
valve gear.
See, Baker was something revolutionary in comparison to it was similar to Stevenson's valve gear, except the expansion link has been replaced with something that didn't use as much moving parts. It was better.
That's the air tank for the air brakes, air reservoir tank.
Your cylinders here. Cylinder housing on the outside of this is gone. Cylinder saddle there.
Front marker lights.
And your headlight, which you know, I heard that
By the dynamo, right?
the headlight was, from what I heard from like a book on 1225 in the locomotive's history, the headlight was used not mainly to see in the dark, but for other people to see the train coming.
Oh yeah.
Because I heard that as big as it is, it
Headlight's
didn't.
gotta be on at all times.
didn't look very
Right. Now this crossing, actually, a fun fact was, if you've been by, you've probably seen some old pictures. This crossing used to sit on Proprietors Road up until 1980. We still had Columbus, Delaware, Marion interurban track going to the left across the street to where all those neighborhood houses, that the housing development's at.
No more, of course. Is am I able to open this?
I think it's locked.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
kind of latched, but that's where
That makes
all the
sense. Don't want
circuits are
someone
inside.
stealing the innards.
Yep. You have signal maintainers back in the day. Now this steam engine has an automatic lubricator on board. Nathan valve here. And see, that would cycle every few, every few turns. And
Yep.
of course, you would also have to
Nice.
oil your bearings, friction bearings and stuff inside, because otherwise, if you hear squeaking, you know it's going to heat up and be a hot box if you're not
And I would hear
careful.
that some mechanics in the shop, or maybe even an engineer, they would hit this with a hammer and listen to the ringing to see if the pitch was right. If it was off, they'd send it to the shop and say, it's time to replace some of these side rods.
Yeah, there's your air filter, and you got your air pumps right here.
And I'll stand next to these wheels. They're
Yeah.
they're taller than me.
Yeah.
It's probably also because I'm not standing on the rail, which would
Just
give
by
me
a
a
little
couple
bit.
more inches.
Just by a
But
little bit.
it would still probably be taller, if not the same height.
Yeah.
Don't mind me. I'm just gonna check out this
Oh, yeah.
diesel cab real quick.
That is a General Electric U23B locomotive.
Yeah, I heard about these. These were some strong power back in the 80s. So here's your light switches here.
And it was originally a Missouri Pacific locomotive, MOPAC for short. And the term Pacific for the wheel range, that was actually given by the Missouri Pacific in the first place, depending on wheel range.
I found the shovel for the steam engine.
Oh, you did? Well, it might not actually be a steam locomotive shovel.
Oh, well.
It looks pretty similar. It looks pretty similar to one.
Should we put this up in the cab or should I put it back?
I just say just put it back in
Okay.
here. Might use switch it out. Now, as I mentioned with brake stands, there's
Train
no
brake?
Yeah, this is a 26L brake stand, so it's gonna have pressure maintaining. So minimal reduction is about 5 to 6 pounds, and you have this one has automatic lapping, so you don't have to try put it in lap.
Yeah.
Service positions like first surface, initial reduction. Draw about 5 pounds, and then you have on your independent brake a bail.
Which would be right here. You'd
Yep.
pull it over here and push it down for bail.
Yep.
And then,
And
if you weren't
when
pulling
you're-
a train, or,
right.
yeah,
And
it
then
would
when your
just be used
train
for that.
stopped, and once you stopped, got your independent ply, they have you do a continuity test. When this is released, the equalizing reservoir and the main train valve, it's set to the regulating valve. So when we do a continuity test, that in turn, you have 26-pound reduction. That's like full service on the brakes while we're stopped. You have suppression, when there's a penalty brake application, handle off. you know, typically what we do is there's a cutout valve.
Yep.
We put that in the out position. When we do what's called drawdown and cutout, let's say this is on, it doesn't matter which mode. Later models, you had freight mode or passenger mode.
Yep.
Freight's like 7, and then passenger's kind of less than that. You draw down 20 pounds. You put this in cutout position, release your independent, bail off, release your train brake. You say 168, drawn down, cut out. And then the next thing you can do too, if you're like on a controlled unit, you wait till he draws down, cuts out, then you cut it back in, and then you apply your independent. Now, regardless, if this brake is in cut out or in position, you put this in emergency, that'll put the maximum amount of pressure on the
Dump
brakes.
all the air.
Yeah, you
clamp
have to,
those brake shoes on those wheels.
Oh
real
yeah,
hard.
you have to hold this for like 60 seconds. You know, for you're trying to come, you know, to help recharge the air. It's right here's your throttle, and then once you do that, you're watching your amperage, but also the slack going between the couplers here. That's your power reverser. One of the ways you can actually get this engine to go, even if the reverser is in position, you have what's called control, generator field that sends power to the wheels, and then engine run. So you've probably seen those before on like train simulator games.
Yeah, I play Train World Sim 2 and the SD70-2 for the CSX.
One thing you want to do too when you're inspecting locomotive getting started, you check the brake pads, you check your fuel. You want to check your oil after you got in the engine. You could do it before, but especially after you fired it up, so you can see how much oil is actually in there. You got this, your isolation switch and start. First thing, of course, you always turn on your battery switch.
Headlights, right?
Mm-hmm.
Headlights.
So these are like for like long hood trail. I want to do short hood since this is kind of our leading unit. So this is the short hood lead. That runs your headlight control. I always put control, engine run. I always turn my generator field off as kind of a 3-step, so that way,
if you accidentally kick the throttle and it's in, it won't run away.
Headlight, we do headlight. We're gonna put this on the off mode, so we don't really need the rear headlight. But we do what's called a headlight check. So we put your battery switch in, we prime it for a little bit, about 15, 20, 30 seconds, and then we start it up, wait for the oil to kick on, close that air tank on that air compressor valve. Then we check the oil, you know, the dipstick, wipe it clean, stick it back in, take it back out, do a headlight check. I want my pressure to be about 90 pounds so that way I can move this engine and be able to stop it. So that's where your independent brake would be at.
That's where your horn is.
Yeah, and that's a Graham White valve. So this engine, some of you probably heard the Leslie RS3L horn, typically heard on Conrail locomotives. So with these types of manual valves, you can actually kind of quill the horn back in the day.
But quilling isn't like the same as a steam locomotive where the pitch would go lower and then raise. Vice versa, the pitch would be higher the lower the air you put in.
Yeah.
The more air you put in, it gets lower. And I've heard that was something similar with the E units and F units, which used like pull ropes. They would go up to the roof and
I've actually blown one of those before on GP7.
Oh, fun! Leslie A200s are my favorite horns.
Yeah.
There's a toilet right there.
Yeah, my second favorite bell is the EMD steel bell. My favorite is the EMD bronze bell. My favorite horn used for bronze bell is the Leslie RS5T RRO horn.
Nice, nice, good choices. Looks like some cosmetic spray paint happened here. You can tell from the rocks.
Yeah.
Some history on the Union Pacific. You can pause that and read into that if you want. Let's get up in the steam locomotive.
All right, come on up.
See, when I was here last time, they didn't put the stairs back, and because of that, I had to climb up into it the traditional way.
Yeah.
My mother and grandmother was here, although they didn't join me in the cab because, well, it's kind of high up in the cab.
That's our firebox door, so your draft's going to go from the back end. That's powered by the blower. These would actually run your jets for your firebox back in the day. This would, of course, you've probably seen this before. This opens up the firebox.
Mechanical stoker right here to
Yep.
corkscrew that fed coal in.
Yep. This right here, if you open it up, that would shake your grates inside. We got, I think we got the grate shaker stored somewhere. This type of brake stand, this is a number 6 brake stand. So if you go past here, this is what's called charging mode. You can actually overcharge the system if you're not careful. So it's in release. You have hold position, which will release your train brakes but keep your independent applied. Then you have lap, and then you have what's called application mode. You push this all the way, that's emergency mode. These will charge up really quickly. thing is, when you're doing what's called power braking, as I showed,
There's a throttle. He just
yeah,
closed it.
so, well, you pull a little bit more, keep your train stretched. I'll draw about 5 pounds down to it back quickly. This one does not have like an automatic lapping, so you have to do it kind of manually, and then make sure you have enough steam. Make sure your reverser, power
Johnson
reverser,
bar,
all the way
something like
forward.
that.
Johnson bars you typically see in the floor. Once you come to a stop, close off your throttle.
course,
Apply your
I've-
engine brake.
I've
release
tried
your
this
train
before. I
brake.
tried to push this forward, but since the I forgot it's like a hydraulic
Yeah.
system helps you push
Yeah.
the.
These two
reverser.
levers right there, those are your water injectors. That will drop your steam pressure. I don't put too much water in the boiler, then not have enough, and then you have a catastrophic explosion like this.
Yep, that was a 210 Texas.
Yeah,
Forget
okay.
what railroad. I heard it was bad
Yeah,
incident.
there was
You can read more into that.
23 years ago. Tomorrow will mark the 2001 Medina traction engine explosion.
Traction engine
It
explosion.
was like a steam locomotive, was like a tractor ran.
Yeah,
And the guy that ran
yeah.
it wasn't doing it properly. They stopped him. He was operating the engine from his house to the fairgrounds. He pulled it in. I don't think he replaced his water tubes or did proper maintenance on it. He's sitting there talking. All of a sudden, boom! Thing exploded. That killed 5 people, injured 40 others.
The whistle cord here is not
Oh, I know.
retracting.
Yeah.
I remember we-
That's easy. Yeah, you can do it like that, or you could simply.
Glitch you through here.
Please, thank you. This, you just push it back. That's why we always lubricate and maintain our equipment.
So yeah, yeah, and that's the door if you wanted to,
Walk
go
out
into
on
the running board.
Yep, the running board.
Oh, it looks like you took these off. These are armrests that go on the engineer's side.
Yeah.
Just to make your trip a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
This side here, isn't this another water injector or something
I
similar?
don't believe so. And your turret valve would actually be up on top. So this is kind of like your breaker, like a breaker cabinet, except this is steam.
Yeah, it's nice. And up there, that the switch, green switch on the right to the engineer's head, that's the lights.
That's your dimmer switch.
Something a little more simple. And then there's the air vent up there if you want to let a little air in.
Hey, it's about 4 minutes. We better get on the train.
Okay, we'll come back to the steam locomotive cab later, and we'll look at the museum some more later. But for now, let's go ride the train, shall we?
I'm an engineer.
Skeletal frame of cupola Caboose,
Still 1926.
or what's left of it. Okay, we are on the trolley now.
Yeah.
Shot of the interior.
And I'm taking tickets here.
There's the.
And just as a heads
Throttle
up, your
slash
tickets are
deadman's
good
handle.
for all the rides here.
All right.
The same ones?
Yeah.
So I won't be thrown off over by the
Nope.
trestle.
We won't measure your dive like the Olympics at the bridge.
You're not gonna do a Polar Express and throw me off the back of the train.
Nope. Not even gonna do an Emperor of the North either.
You're not gonna take me up to the cab and make me drive it.
Nope.
That's right, a 10-year-old girl driving a steam locomotive. What a great idea. A 210-4 explosion all over
The
again.
amount of smarts.
Boiler explosion all over again. Condition,
5 or 6 more coming from the depot.
not the best, but sure could be a lot worse. He's putting the throttle in, or the dead man's handle.
Dr. Aaron, copy.
This cord gun up here is the whistle. They had an air whistle instead of an air horn. It was one of those earlier ones. This was a good alternative to steam because in a metropolis or heavily populated area, the smoke wouldn't pollute the place. It's not Christmas, but whatever.
Mark, everyone say hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
In the back of our car, we have our very own trusty brakeman, Belle. Everyone say hi.
Hi, Belle.
I know everyone's excited for a train ride as much as I am, as much as we are here. First and foremost, we must go over our safety rules. Rule number 1, keep all hands, arms, legs, and upper body parts inside the train at all times while there's in motion. You may notice you'll be passing a lot of close clearances along our right of way. We don't want anyone to get swept off. If that's the case, well, it's a long walk back and you're on your own. Likewise, please remain seated while this car's in motion. I may have experience moving from one car to the other. That doesn't mean I'm falling down a time or two, or Belle has, so you can laugh at her or me. All right, folks, without further ado, who's ready for a train ride?
Woo!
I can hear you!
Yeah!
Here we go. And folks, this is where the fun gets underway. Yes, we are rolling down the rails of history. The Ohio Railway Museum is a non-profit organization dedicated to restoring railroad equipment since 1948. The year is 2024. Does anybody get it, Matt? What's 2024 minus 1948?
Old.
Any takers? Bueller? 76. You got a winning number, folks. Now I'd like to direct your attention to the east side of our car. You'll see what appears to be railroad junk in a big green barn. This is the site of Silcox Railway Equipment, where railroad equipment can be restored indoors or outdoors. Now, please raise your hand as I ask if this is your first train ride. Any first-time riders? For those of you who came out, I sincerely thank you for coming out to ride our trolley today. This line we're riding on is part of the former Columbus, Delaware, Marion Interurban Railway, constructed in 1903, which connected the cities of Columbus, Delaware, and Marion. This line we're riding on is part of the Rinsky Cutoff, constructed in the early 1920s, used to bypass the city. Unfortunately, in March 1933, the line faced bankruptcy, but in 1948, we did relaying tracks out toward our Potter Street Grade Crossing. We're coming up here. You'll be able to hear the whistle of our car number 64 as soon as we pass this whistle sign. Isn't the sound of the whistle exciting or what? Well,
Pretty good. It's
what
pretty
else
good whistle.
exciting is coming up is the Ohio Railway Museum's one and only steel girder bridge, which crosses over State Route 161. This promotes our public advertising and gives you an opportunity to wave for a motorist. Hey, if they don't wave back, they're probably jealous of us. Let's wave, folks. I see 1, 2, 3, 4 cars down there. All right, folks, as we exit the bridge, look on the east side of our car. Yes, young man. There's a string of some very strange-looking cars. You know what makes them kind of special? Well, they were famously decorated by our local artisans who thought it'd be fun to decorate the car. They were trying to do the next Claude Monet. Well, that's urban artwork. I like the urban artwork. Well, you love the urban artwork, don't you? I thought so. All right, folks, as we leave our south yard, look on the east side of the car, you'll see the remains of our campfire. This is the site of a hobo camp, which will be inhabited by these strange people in October during a ghost trolley day. You can find that on our website at www.ohiorallymuseum.org. The term hobo was referred to travelers who would hop on trains back in the day in search of work during the Great Depression, and the term was homeward bound, hence the name stuck. Now, along our railroad right-of-way, you might see a couple of woodland animals. Now, for those of you who are also fans of the Columbus Zoo, some of you are exotic animal fans. Has anybody got a favorite animal they like?
Dogs.
Oh, okay. Anybody else? Yes, sir. Doggy. You know what my favorite is? I would say Chewbacca if you're a Star Wars fan. Now like Bigfoot, don't you? All right, folks, if you look on the east side of our car, you'll notice two rail lines are coming close together. The line closest to us is Norfolk Southern, represented by the black and white diesel locomotives. The other track adjacent is the CSX line, represented by the yellow, blue, and gray diesel locomotives. Both rail lines are going in the opposite direction. Don't really want to come in conflict. The use or solution is the high-speed crossover, or diamond, where the two tracks cross together. There was also a control tower back in the day, which was used by dispatch to control the movement of trains. Now, on the right side of the car, on the west side, we have what appears to be some housing. This is Colonial Hills. Now, I don't know about you, but wouldn't you like to have a train in your own backyard?
Yes.
I actually dream. What about you, Bill? You want to train in your own backyard? Yeah. All right, folks, as you can see here, we have come to a full complete stop. Now, does anybody know why we stopped? Yes, sir, young man. Anyone? Bueller? Yes.
The track ended.
Yeah, end the line, folks. There hasn't been a train past there since 1933. There's actually a specific term where a train goes off railing, although this is not a 4x4 or an ATV. Does anybody know what that term is called? Bueller? Bueller?
Derail.
Derailment, yes. Motorman Mark does not want to be doing paperwork, and I don't want to be doing paperwork either. We don't have a turntable to turn our car around. We don't have a wide track to back down like we do in our driveway to turn around. We also don't have enough people to pick up our train, and I certainly don't believe in backup cameras being trustworthy. Because anyways, they're a little bit too modern. We're a museum. By the way, if there are any Michigan fans, this is your stop. We are not required to take you back. So if he's in the back of this car, how's he going to know what's ahead of him? Well, our plan B here is a brakeman, and here Brakeman Bell will talk about her duties.
Basically, as the brakeman, I get to be the eyes and ears for our motor when we go back north. He has the visual instruction in the bathroom here, so I have a radio to him, and the radio to him important information, such as where we are along the tracks and if we need to stop for any reason.
So what do you enjoy most about your job?
Yeah, it's different than conductor.
Least favorites?
When it rains or any other guy had to limit weather.
I figured, because the rain, weather changes every 5 minutes here, like I say. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to head back. Everybody ready to go back or what?
Yep.
All right, Brakeman, we're ready. Take her on back. And folks, it's a lot of fun going forward. It's also a lot of fun busy going backwards, so to speak. You get to see what it's like from the brakeman's perspective and actually get a little bit of a breeze. Now, there's two types of trolleys. One of them is known as the streetcar and the interurban. Does anybody know the difference between those two? Yes?
One goes from city to city, that's interurban.
Yeah.
And a streetcar is only confined to one city, taking people from one side of the city to the other.
That's right, folks. We got a winner in our relay today. This car we're riding on is an interurban, constructed in July 1924, just recently celebrated her 100th birthday. Ohio Public Service, originally number 41. She ran on the Mansfield line up until 1934 when that line faced bankruptcy and then was reassigned to the Marblehead line where she was renumbered to 64 as there was already a car number during that time. This car can go up, as they mentioned, up to around 80 miles an hour. What was also unique for those who are sitting in the front of the car, this was general seating. You can actually see the stencil of the original 41 number located up near the ceiling. You also had public advertising before the use of TVs and computers and cell phones. You had the radio and magazine articles. Near the back of your car, because this car would go from one city to the other, you had a bathroom on board for your earliest convenience. The front, this back of this car here, the north end, was actually a first-class smoking section. Now, no smoking unless you were a locomotive, no pun intended. But there was a little bar located next to the window where you could actually light your cigarette back in the day. The car came to our museum in 1953 and we received restoration in 2014. Now, left side of the car, cut up this hill, you're going to see a very scenic overlook. You actually get a little bit more of a clearing to be on it, but see for yourself. All right, folks, what time is it? Bridge time. Let's promote our public advertising. Let's wave. If they don't wave back, they're probably jealous of us. I see 2 cars. Is everybody having fun on the rails or what?
All right.
Fun's up. All right, here comes a great crossing. Let's listen. Yeah, the whistle's nice and amazing. There's actually specific types of codes. 2 toots means go forward. 1 short blast means stop. 3 short blast means go reverse. And 2 longs followed by 1 short and 1 long is the signal for highway grade crossing. Now, how many of you own a train whistle or train horn? Anyone? Bueller? Oh, I see one. Well, for those who haven't already, you can stop by Ohio Railway Museum gift shop after your train ride and pick up the whistle for your very own self. Your purchase of a gift shop item, train ticket, which is good for all of our rides, for our last one being around 3:40 p.m. today, as well as donations will help keep us on the tracks for years to come. We have a donation box located in the north end of our car. The Ohio Railway Museums, I mentioned, is a non-profit organization. We're always looking for new volunteers. No railroad experience is needed. I myself am an experienced rail veteran. If you would like to join our museum, you can get on the website, fill out a volunteer application, or talk to our volunteer coordinator, Bell, and we'll fill one out for you in our gift shop at our depot. Our last ride will be around 3:40 p.m. We'd like to ask passengers please remain seated until the cars come to full complete stop. I'd like to thank everybody for riding with us today at the Ohio Railway Museum. The next time you decide to travel, please take the train. It's worth seeing the scenery. Thank you. Any questions? All right, everyone have fun or what?
All right.
That's great. All right, folks, I'd like to welcome you to beautiful Worthington Station. Any moment now we should be stopped.
4, 3, 2,
And folks, if you blow the whistle, come see Motorman Mark. Otherwise, please exit out the back end of the car.
May I have a go?
And enjoy the rest of your day at the IRL.
Mind if I give it a shot? That's it.
Nice. Let these people go by. Come on. Come on.
You guys ride the speeder yet?
Nope. Let's ride the speeder.
I'll get it, bud. Okay. Because you're cleaning. Yeah, I'm a clean conductor. Well, folks, enjoy your ride here, and Josh, the operator, should be here anytime soon. So
All right.
sit tight. See our diesel locomotive yet?
No, let's take a look at the diesel.
The locomotive was built by General Electric in 1943 as an example of a center cab locomotive. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier in your video, it's the only diesel engine that we have on the property. It's known as Roger the Diesel.
Here it is, Roger.
Yeah. This right here is your power throttle. We got your independent brake and your train brake here. Same setup as the number 6 brake stand design. This one operates your bell here. This one opens up your throttle, can build up your amperage here. This is like your front bright lights, dim, rear, gauge light. Got your horn right up here.
I'm guessing that, yeah, that's not going to run because there's no air hooked up to
No,
it.
there's no air hooked up.
There's also a Leslie A200 on this horn, right?
That I believe is stored, is in storage at this time.
Okay. Again, my favorite horn, and to see when I was riding, I have ridden behind Roger before, to see that horn facing back at my face and knowing that it's going to go off at some point down the road, that's kind of nerve-wracking because it's loud.
Yeah, because the diameter of the horn, the Nathan ones are smaller, but the Leslie ones are bigger.
Yeah, I've seen a Leslie horn. They're fairly big. Oh, they even have a little antique pencil sharpener here.
We got a train coming.
All right, let's
up there. You got about 2 minutes to get down there. Come on.
let's go. Come on. All right, we're rolling.
We apologize to interrupt your regular programming, and we got a train that's heading this way here. It's going southbound on the Norfolk Southern Sandusky Express. And that was originally a Pennsylvania Railroad line until 1964. It became part of the Norfolk and Western. And on June 1st, 1982, the merger of the Norfolk Southern came into being after merging the Southern Railway.
That lead unit going by was the cleanest Dash 8 or Dash 9 I've ever seen. It was like it had a fresh coat of paint.
Like sometimes you find new rebuilds coming in and out every now and then.
I'm surprised they're not ordering more ET44s and ES44s and all the other Gevo junk they're pumping out nowadays.
I'll race one of these. I would.
Did you win? Oh, wow.
Sometimes you might see Conrad equipment Southern Railway cars.
I saw a Santa Fe car.
They twist that?
Yeah, on a different train I saw with a friend.
Nice. Conrail.
Yep, there it is. All right. Most of these cars aren't even owned by these railroads now. You can see all these letters on them from I don't know, the manufacturer or something. I don't know. You can hear the flat spots on the wheels going against the rail. Doom, 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 doom. And the flanges scraping. Just because the wheel is conical doesn't mean the flanges don't have to be used. You'll see the EOT blinking here. There's the EOT blinking. The rails are still squeaking and grinding, and there we go. What do you think? That was cool, huh? Hear the horn up there?
Yeah.
Sounds like a Jiva horn, I think. So maybe that was a fresh rebuild coming out. They put a new horn on it. Yeah. Those horns don't last forever, and you can sometimes hear it. Sounds like a gasoline engine. That's what it sounds like. You can see it burning just a bit of oil trying to start up here.
Yeah, I see it on camera, but alright.
Yeah, it's faint on the camera, but we can see real good.
My video's pretty much done.
Alright,
'Cause I only got,
last car.
I've only got a little bit more space.
It's even painted in Ohio Railway Museum colors, but looks like it's a Pullman car. So
Yeah, we can, yeah.
let's get up here, shall we? I don't know if we can go in the door. Looks like this was a handbrake of some sort, maybe.
It was an ashtray.
Oh, it wasn't. Oh. Why am I not surprised?
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, the door doesn't open, but it's empty at the moment.
I have much in there.
But as you can see, it's they're cleaning up in there, and there's tons of space. You know, it's a great storage area. Pullman car. Let's go back down and check out the other cars. And you don't have to exit the car backwards this time because there's steps, perfectly sized steps. Well, a little undersized for my feet, but maybe I just have big feet. I don't know. Let's open the journal boxes. See. Nope.
Nothing.
Still has roller bearings.
Nothing.
Man, I did all that just to get my fingers dirty.
That was a loud one. I want to say so many words right now.
Don't.
I'm not gonna. Hi, Roger.
Roger, 65 tons of World War II madness.
65 tons of awesomeness.
Yeah. That's right. Let's open these roller bearings, or these journal boxes.
Did that open?
Guess they're locked.
The sadness is real.
Oh well, I'm assuming there's friction bearings in
You can
there.
go this one.
Let's go in. Other side of the car, there's one seat left.
Yeah, we're doing some seat renovation.
Oh
This
yes.
right here is our Pennsylvania Railroad. This is our Pennsylvania Railroad mail car, known as an RPO, Railway Post Office for short. RPO, or Rolling Post Office. All the workers back in the day were United States Postal Service workers. You had trays, you had sorting tables, you had the holes in the floor to hold the table up. You could sort your letters or larger parcels in these sorting bags. You had racks up on top, pigeonholes in the back, and on the side of the car, if you look closely, you can actually pull it if you want on the right side. That right here, see right here?
Huh.
That is the mail hook. You could actually grab the mail on the fly going 79 miles an hour. If you miss it,
Wow.
the next train would actually have to come and get it, because the train can't stop or start on a dime because
So-
of its mass. And it's all about that precision transportation.
So if you miss it, is it like, oh well, let the other one get it, or is it you're fired, get out of here?
Well, if you mess up the job, it's usually determined to either get written up or dismissed from your position.
That'd be unfortunate.
Yeah. This car was retired in 1970. That was 2 years after the February 1st, 1968 merger of New York Central Railroad, Pennsylvania, formed Penn Central.
Oh yes,
Penn
one of the
Central
worst
still
railroads
exists.
in. It still exists.
Yeah, as an insurance company. Conrail was formed on April 1st, 1976.
Yeah,
and then
I'll definitely trust.
CSX and Norfolk Southern took over Conrail in 1999.
Yeah, I definitely trust them with my
Yeah,
insurance.
this car came to our museum in 1972 and celebrated her 100th birthday, offering train rides in July of 2020.
Nice. I trust Penn Central with my insurance as much as I trust them with our trains.
I gotcha. So this is our gas little bug number 5012. This car was built in 1931 by Bethlehem Steel Corporation, was used on the Erie Railroad and later used on the New York, Susquehanna, and Western Railroad as a lease car until its retirement in May 1951. The car came to our museum in 1952, and up until late 50s was used as our power source. We didn't have the substation put in during that time. So that part of the car you walked in was general seating. This was first class seating, because if you notice there's a lot more space in between. There were lounge chairs back in the day. You could have a smoke. Of course, don't smoke unless you're an Iron Horse engine.
Yeah, I won't be doing that. It was coming back then, not so much I want to do now.
And that's Debbie right here, sitting here.
Hello there.
Hi there.
Baggage compartment. This is where luggage could be loaded and unloaded back in the day.
Well, is this a doodle bug? Is that what this
Yeah,
is
it's a
called?
gas doodle bug.
All right. Check that out. It's a huge gas
300
engine.
horsepower.
Big boy. 300 horsepower. All
Yeah.
right.
You could actually have 44 passengers. You could actually have a motorman at the front of that car or in the back, and a conductor on board to watch over the passengers.
Looks like this is a head for some pistons.
I believe so. Yeah, piston heads.
Oh, that's heavy. Holy moly, that's heavy.
Yeah, take a look at this one.
Let's see.
Thank you.
That's a piston.
And it's a piston right there.
Oh, wow. My dad and I went here about, I think, a year ago, and he saw this, and he was like, whoa, check out the size of this piston.
Oh yeah, I know.
I'm not even gonna try to lift it.
Oh, man.
Mine's like that's like I don't need to work out the gym for that. Wow.
Come on, Blake, at least give it a go. You know, let's pick it up a little bit.
Oh, it's probably not that.
Oh, it's not that.
It's not that heavy though. It's
Yeah.
definitely heavy. It's
Until
just,
you get up here, and you're like, oh, I can't go anymore. Yeah, you see the piston rings
that's like my
stretching out there.
That's like my tuba friends when they first got the tuba.
All right, folks. So this is the last part of our museum collection. This is the very first modern steam locomotive preserved in the state of Ohio for tourist operation. This is our Marble Cliff Quarry steam locomotive number 1. She was built in April 2nd, 1924, and had just celebrated her 100th birthday. This is an example of a saddle tank locomotive. It was built by the Vulcan Iron Works in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania.
You can call
This-
it modern, but that cylinder style is not very modern.
Yeah. This uses a saddle on board, which stores the water, which you typically see in tender locomotives, except the water is put in the saddle up here. So some of these you've probably seen Thomas and Friends, you've probably
Yep.
seen Percy, the green engine, or Bill and Ben, the other tank engine. That's where the water would be stored up here. You also had your stand dome and your steam dome.
It looks,
This engine worked at Marble Cliff Quarries, located in Marble Cliffs, Ohio, hauling rock cars in and out of a rock quarry. The engine came to our museum in 1955 and operated on our museum property till the late 1960s. We are actually doing a fundraiser to help get number 1 back in the service.
oh, wow. All right.
Coupler opening.
See, this has it's like a cross style where if you had old Lincoln pin cars, you could still
Oh,
use
yeah.
this. Just put the pin here and
See, this
put it
is
down
your
there.
firebox door right here. See, that would open and close your door. This engine did not have a bunker in the back, so you'd actually get a bucket of coal back in the day. These are your Tricok valves.
There's only one
This
left.
one uses steam brakes instead of air brakes, as there was no air brakes on this locomotive or air pumps back in the day. So you'd actually have to use what's called the Johnson bar on the floor right here, and see, that would regulate how fast you want to accelerate or decelerate. So
And
we've got
how
your
much
turret
power you
valves
want
and
to
other
apply.
valves on top, and if anybody would like to ring the bell, have a wig at it.
Where's the cord? Oh, there's the cord. Here, let's let you do it so we can get a footage of it. Works great.
Next contestant.
Traditionally, the bell cord would be located on the fireman's side,
Yeah.
but then they eventually switched that, and a lot of locomotives, even modern ones restored today, have air ringers that it's either the bell is stationary and some puffs of air hit the
Yeah.
clapper, or like an air mechanism hooks up to the side of the bell and moves it back and forth like this to let the bell
Now,
ring,
this
swinging
engine
back.
went on lease to the Depot Event Center located in Columbus from 2006 and came back to our museum in June of 2018. So that's a fun for box door. We got this restored in 2020. Yeah, there's your cup door. I think this one could open. I don't think we can.
There we go. I have to pull it up a bit more.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Oh,
It's
wow.
probably not gonna work.
Not until it's hopefully restored. Have to talk my mom into giving a donation because I'd like to see number one return to steam. It's highly unlikely that 578 will ever run again.
Well, you never say never. You know, I mean, the words the Tennessee Valley Railroad. You don't ever say it can't be done. It can be done, but
With the right amount of money.
yeah.
But, you know, money's, well, kind of, expensive, you know? Well, thank you so much for showing us around the museum.
Your service. You can also follow me on YouTube at NS Steampunk.
All right. Make sure to subscribe to his channel. Subscribe to my channel, Thunderbolt Siren Studios. It helps out a lot. Of course, subscribe to Subgun Studios. I'll see you
All right, folks,
in another
next
video.
train ride. All aboard.